It's been sold as the budget for our most vulnerable, more than $14 billion to help with the bills. But for a pensioner like Joan, it's not enough. Even with assistance for rent and electricity, she's being forced from the home she loves.
It's small, it was comfortable, just enough for me, and now I'm leaving 13 and a half years. I thought it was my castle.
A tour of Joan's place takes about 1 minute. Her tiny two-bedroom unit hasn't been touched since she moved in. The carpet needs a clean, the garage leaks, and there's a door to nowhere. But it was home and it was affordable.
I wish it didn't have to come to this. I don't want to leave. Okay.
Joan's packing up her life and moving out. Even a multi-billion-dollar cost of living package in last night's budget won't help her. Because Joan's landlord raised the rent by 100%.
And overnight, they just doubled the rent, which I think is unfair. But what can you do? They want their rent and they won't stop until they get it. That's what I feel anyhow.
5 pensioners call this block of flats in Victoria's Geelong home. Now 5 pensioners have to find an extra $177 a week in rent.
By over 100% in one hit, not even incrementally, seems to be a bit excessive.
Their weekly rent was $172. It will now go up to $350. Can you afford it?
It's going to be very, very difficult.
And after doing the math, Robert, so worried about paying it, he wrote to us.
I don't have any idea what I must do it. It's impossible. I can't afford to pay this rent.
Their situation puts in black and white a cost of living crisis that's putting pensioners on the poverty line. It's a crisis the federal budget has thrown $14.6 billion at.
We want to support people who are doing it especially tough.
The money going to things like rent and bill relief for the most vulnerable.
I didn't think I would ever be in this situation, but
When your rent's doubling, the budget's boost won't cut it, and getting a second job or taking on more shifts isn't an option for 71-year-old Joan. She says losing her independence is what hurts the most.
I don't want to be relying on food bank because there's enough people that are relying on food bank and all that now. I'm going to live with my son temporary until I can find somewhere else.
And that somewhere else has to be social housing.
Yes, I went this morning for government housing and they said there's a waiting list because they're giving to homeless people first.
But if Joan's situation was to become dire, she'd join a long queue. In Victoria, Joan would be added to a 57,000-strong wait list for government housing. Someone in the same position in New South Wales could wait more than 10 years. In Queensland, there's more than 27,000 applications on the social housing register. And in WA, the average wait time is about 130 weeks.
There's not enough housing or anything, for us pensioners.
One of the fastest growing groups of homeless people in Australia is older women. Now, around 20% of Australians who are suffering pension poverty are living alone and renting. And this is why we have to address this problem urgently.
Ian Henschke from National Seniors Australia.
That increase in Commonwealth rent assistance is really just keeping up with some of the high rents that are out there.
We're pensioners. There's 5 of us that are on the pension. Now, that's 5 pensioners out on the breadline, that some of them might be homeless because they can't afford it.
I don't know how anyone just doubles the rent for a bunch of pensioners like that. It feels so unfair.